What's up, you guys? You're watching Team APS. Paul here. In today's video, I'm going to share 5 more deck ideas that you can run in link format. So if you didn't see the last video, you can check it out. But yeah, I think with link format, everybody's looking for something easy to run because not everybody really wants to use links. So I gave you 10 in that video. I've still got 5 more to share. So let's kick it off with Dark Lords. So this is a deck that honestly it's so weird. It just went completely under the radar. Like, there were people who were really hyped for its release, and then it came out in Destiny Soldiers, and people just kind of didn't run it. And it's strange because, you know, the deck is, I don't know, I think it's really strong. I mean, all of the monsters are basically bosses. They have huge attack points, and they can all use the Dark Lord spell and trap card effects from your graveyard. And I might as well mention the Dark Lord spell and trap card effects are actually really strong. It's things like, you know, Monster Reborn style effects and like free Rhodas, for example. The deck's also got loads of draw power, Trade-In, Allure of Darkness. All those cards are used in here. Ixchel is like an easy draw card. It kind of reminds me of like Necroz of Valkyris. And, you know, all in all, it's just one of those things where you don't need an extra deck. I think the hardest part about building this deck is probably being able to afford Dark Lord Ixchel, because she's around like 20 bucks or so, at least as of me making this video. So she can be a bit tough to get, but yeah, this deck is actually a lot of fun. It kind of reminds me of a deck like Blue Eyes, where you're just summoning big boss monsters over and over, and your opponent just has to deal with them. And if they don't have immediate access to their extra deck, which link monsters help with, this deck can totally compete. I think the biggest weaknesses it has, outside of being maybe a little hard to get, is it can be bricky, so you have to be careful and kind of tune your build accordingly, but it can also run some cool tech cards that I like. Basically every monster in this deck can use the virus cards, things like Deck Devastation, Eradicator, Epidemic, Full Force Virus. Those are really fun techs. Allure is actually one of the better draw cards in this game, so I think it's a deck worth at least giving a shot. And next we've got Cubics. So this is a deck I never actually expected to be as popular as it is, but people really like this deck. Cubics they're weird and kind of tough to explain, but I just really want to focus mainly on their boss monster, Crimson Nova. So it can't be normal summon or set. You have to reveal 3 other Cubic cards in your hand with different names to summon it. And it's unaffected by other monsters' activated effects who have less than 3,000 attack. And then when it attacks and destroys something by battle, it gets to attack again, and during the end phase, both players take 3,000 damage. Now, what's really cool about this guy is you can summon more than one copy of him per turn. That effect is not like, you know, the summoning effect at least isn't once per turn, so that's really cool. Also, because you get extra attacks, it's really easy to deal damage, and then when you deal that 3,000 damage at the end of the turn, usually after this guy's swung, it's kind of going to be game for your opponent. Now, the Cubic deck itself has a few other cards. There's like Duzo, which can send things to the graveyard, and the best part about this deck is it doesn't require the extra deck. In fact, if you've seen the movie where Diva, I think is the enemy, uses these, no extra deck required, no synchros, no exes. So this is really cool, and this boss monster has some actual built-in immunity, which is great. If you want actually to learn more about this deck, because I'm not the best person to explain it, you should check out Trell's deck profile. We uploaded it earlier this year, and you know, he might actually be updating it soon, but it's a pretty simple deck to learn once you understand what's going on. So I would definitely recommend checking out that video and giving this deck a look. It's not hard to get. It came in the movie pack, and then the movie pack got reprinted gold, so none of these cards are very tough to come by. Then we have Ancient Gears. So I included dinosaurs on the last list, and so I figured that Ancient Gears makes sense. They, as a structure deck, were released alongside this. So Ancient Gears, they have some fusions, but believe it or not, you don't actually need to do that. Between Ancient Gear Catapult and Gear Town, it's not hard to just use your main decked Ancient Gear monsters. Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon and the new Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, you can summon them both with Gear Town, and it's really easy to do. And they have high attack points. Of course, they don't need the extra deck to function. And what's cool is, you know, when they attack, they don't let your opponent use effects. So like this guy, for example, you know, if it attacks, your opponent can't use spell trap and monster effects till the end of the damage step. No mirror forces, you know, none of that. It even pops free cards. I think that Ancient Gears are super consistent. You know, they recently got Ancient Gear Wyvern, and that can search any of your Ancient Gear cards. Gear Town makes them really easy to summon. I think that it's just sort of one of those like sleeper decks where people are just like, oh, this deck sucks because the Dino deck was better, but no, not really. I mean, Alec actually has an Ancient Gear deck that I want to profile soon if we can. So yeah, you can even like throw in things like Lithosagem because they're all earth monsters and do some fun gimmicks with that. I think just all in all, if you're into machines, you know, you can do lots with this. You can use gadgets, you can use Lithosagem, you can use, you know, Gear Gigant, and you can even incorporate the fusions with the extra deck monster zone that you have. So not bad. And finally, well, not finally, I have 2 decks left, so you can probably guess what the second one is when I show you the first one. Blue Eyes. So Blue Eyes White Dragon is a cool, fun deck. It's actually one of my favorites. But what's neat about it is it doesn't need the extra deck to function. It has extra deck monsters you can summon. There's like Twin Burst, there's Spirit Dragon, you know, Azure Eyes, and those are actually all totally usable. With only 1 extra deck spot on your zone, on your mat, you can still summon this pretty easily. You can still use them. But the big kicker here is actually Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, which I wish I had a picture of, but it's the big Blue Eyes fusion that can't be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects and inflicts double piercing damage with 4,000 attack points. It's a ritual monster that's extremely easy to summon. You can summon it with, you know, advanced ritual art or like Chaos Max. There are loads of Blue Eyes decks I've lost to simply because they dropped that dude and he's 4K, he does double piercing and you can't kill him, and he swings at you like twice and you're dead. As I mentioned in the other video, ritual monsters are not at all affected by links. You can summon like, you know, all of the ones you want, and so dropping that alongside the other really strong Blue Eye support, I mean, it's a consistent deck. It's got draw cards like Cards of Consonance, and you know, you've got like Sage with Eyes of Blue, Dragon Spirit of White, all those things, Trade In and Melody of Awakening Dragon. It's not a hard deck to make use of, and it's kind of expensive, unfortunately. Sage is a really pricey card, but I think it's going to be getting reprinted soon in the Megatins, or at least that's what it looks like. Hopefully it does, because this is a fun deck. It's one of my favorites, and there's a lot you can do with it. You could probably guess then that the last deck is Dark Magicians. So, check out my Dark Magician deck profile if you haven't already. I have Apprentice Illusion Magicians in there. And also, this deck doesn't need an extra deck either. You are basically relying on Dark Magical Circle and Eternal Soul to do all of your Dark Magician summon spam and removal just between those 2 cards. There are Xyz monsters you can use, but they really don't help much at all. I mean, you can just simply beat your opponent down by summoning Dark Magicians over and over, banishing their cards with Dark Magical Circle, and just kind of letting that be that. And this deck is deceptively more consistent, I think, than it's given credit for. Rod searches, circle searches, you have Dark Magic Inheritance and Illusion Magic. You know, it's really fun. I want to get some theme duels in with it soon, actually, so hopefully those will be up around the time this video is, but if not, look forward to them. And yeah, Dark Magician's probably only downside, like Blue Eyes, is that it can be a bit pricey. Circles and navigations cost a lot, but if we're lucky, they will be reprinted in this year's Megatins. So that concludes the 5 cool decks that you can run in link format. I've still got lots more I can include. I mean, if you guys want me to make another video like this, give it a like, and I definitely can. Let me know what you guys are going to be running in link format. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. So, typical end of video plugs. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, get an APS shirt on Teespring, link in the description, and that's going to be it. So, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.